Have you ever wondered what would happen if the most underestimated continent on Earth suddenly started outpacing the rest of the world in innovation? What if I told you that is happening right now in 2025 and almost nobody is talking about it? Hey family, welcome back to the channel. This is the Strategic Lens and I am Asongwet Louis, and today we are diving deep into something that has been suppressed by mainstream media and global corporations. Something that challenges everything you thought you knew about where world-changing ideas come from. 4 revolutionary African innovations have emerged in just the past few months that could literally transform life as we know it. We are not talking about minor adaptations or improvements of Western technology. We are talking about Africans creating what the world's richest companies said was impossible. By the end of this video, you would understand why these breakthroughs aren't front page news and why certain interests don't want them to be. But first, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you saw an African innovation being celebrated on a global stage? Think about that for a moment. Now, let's shatter some illusions. Africa needs our help. Africa is behind in technology. Africa needs to catch up. How many times have you heard these narratives? They are not just wrong, they are a deliberate distortion of history. Did you know that while Europe was in the Dark Ages, the University of Timbuktu was exchanging advanced mathematical theories? Or that the world's first heart transplant wasn't performed in America or Europe, but by Dr. Christian Bernard in South Africa? The oldest evidence of mathematical thinking on the planet, a 20-year-old bone with deliberate markings, was discovered in the Congo basin. Africa has had so many innovations, but then, since colonization, Africans have lost track of most of these innovations. When we talk about colonization, we are talking about a period of about 400 to 500 years. And during this period, other people have been writing our history. During this period, other people have been telling our stories. Now we have the opportunity today to tell you our story. Now the Africans are now saying the story. And now when we talk about story, there is an African proverb that says, until the lion have their own historians, the tale of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. Many people thought that nothing was going on in Africa when it comes to intellectual, until the bone was discovered in Congo that dates more than 20,000 years. The bone dates more than 20,000 years with mathematical formula on top of it. 20,000 years. It's not 2,000 years. It's not 200 years. It's not 20 years. 20,000 years. In addition to this, there are other evidence coming up that shows that lots of innovation was going on the continent. The astronomical calculations that builds the pyramids, the complex metallurgy of ancient Zimbabwe, the surgical techniques of Egypt that predated Western medicine by millennia. I'm talking about millennia, not 100 years. So innovation is not something that Africa needs to learn. It is in Africa's DNA. But here is what makes 2025 different. For the first time, we are seeing African innovations that don't just match. They are leapfrogging ahead, solving problems the so-called advanced economies haven't yet even begun to tackle. And it's happening not despite limited resources, but because of them. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine losing your arm in a country where prosthetics cost more than most people earn in a year. Now imagine 2 local inventors looking at that problem and saying, we don't need millions of dollars, we need creativity. In Kikuyu, Kenya, David Gatto and Moses Kiuna didn't wait for foreign aid or multinational companies to solve this problem. They took action. In a workshop that would make Silicon Valley engineers blush with embarrassment, they have created something revolutionary, an AI-powered prosthetic arm that responds to your thought. Imagine that in a local lab. Let that sink in. While companies like Neuralink are burning through billions to create brain-computer interfaces, two self-taught Kenyan inventors built a working prototype from electronic waste, discarded radios, old motherboards, and salvaged circuits. One moment that changed everything, when a local amputee first tried their device, thought about moving his fingers, and watched as the robotic hand responded. The look on his face, priceless. Here's what makes this story truly revolutionary. In America or Europe, advanced prosthetics can cost upwards of $50,000. For most Kenyans, indeed for most people in the developing world, that could as well be $50 million. Gato and Kiona's mission wasn't just to create mind-controlled prosthetics. It was to make them accessible to everyone who needs them. Now ask yourself, what happens when life-changing technology becomes accessible to billions of people currently priced out of the market? What happens when innovation serves humanity and not just the highest bidder? But this is just the beginning. While Kenya is revolutionizing prosthetics, South Africa is tackling one of humanity's most devastating diseases. For 4 decades, an HIV diagnosis has meant one thing: a lifetime of medication. Despite billions spent on research, a cure has remained out of reach. Until now. In Durban, South Africa, a city that has been on the front lines of the HIV pandemic, Professor Ndung'u has done something extraordinary. Him and his team have conducted the first African-led HIV cure trial, with results that have sent shockwaves through medical establishments across the world. Their approach, instead of focusing solely on suppressing the virus with medication, they are teaching the immune system to control it naturally. The process combines early intervention with powerful immune-boosting therapy. The goal is simple but ambitious: eliminate or reduce the hidden traces of HIV so the body can keep the virus in check without medication. The results? 20% of participants have remained off medication for over a year and a half with no detectable virus in their blood. Think about that. 1 in 5 patients potentially cured. For a continent where over 20 million people live with HIV, this is not just a medical breakthrough. It's a liberation. I don't want to go into the details of how they got HIV anyway, because we all know what happened during the apartheid period, and I'm going to make a video on that. So if you want me to make a video on that, just write cure in the comment section and I'm going to do that video for you. What if the cure of AIDS comes not from a gleaming research campus in California or Switzerland, but from the very communities most affected by the disease? And while South Africa reimagines healthcare, the Republic of Congo is completely transforming how we think about energy. What if I told you the solution of energy poverty was growing in our backyard all along? In the Republic of Congo, an innovator named Vital has developed something that sounds like scientific fiction but is very real. A system that harvests electricity directly from living plants. They call it plant battery, a revolutionary technology that taps into the natural processes happening in plant roots to generate usable electrical current. The system is elegantly simple. Specialized electrodes installed on plant roots capture the voltage naturally produced through biological processes. This energy is then converted and stored, capable of producing up to 1.5 amperes, enough to power lights, television, and small appliances for up to 12 hours. In a groundbreaking pilot program, Vitium connected 3 households to 3 different types of plants: the citrus trees, eucalyptus, and avocado. The results were fascinating. Avocado trees produced the most energy, while eucalyptus generated the least. That's why we say research is very important. Who knew that avocado trees can produce electricity? I made a video about avocado on this channel, and I said how avocado can easily make you to become a millionaire. Those who have not yet watched that video, just browse the channel. You are going to see that video, avocado. And the title of that video, avocado 1,000 times more lucrative than petrol. You know, in Africa and anywhere else, if you buy land that has oil, the government take that from you. It's automatic. In nearly every country, there is a legislation that says that if you discover oil behind your house, forget about the house, it's no longer yours, it belongs to the government. But you can create an avocado farm. So it's logical that avocado is 1,000 times more lucrative than oil. Many Africans, you live in countries where you have oil, but you do have no access to the oil. You don't even feel the oil money, but you can create an avocado farm and make money from that. Avocado is green gold. That's the name it is called right now, green gold. And we are just discovering that apart from that, you can actually generate electricity from avocado. That's research from Congo. This same Congo that has a mathematical thinking evidence of more than 20,000 years. Congo that has more than $24 trillion worth of minerals under its soil. We're talking about some few months back, from January to now. There are many things that have happened. Before the year runs out, I'm going to make a similar video of new inventions that have come out of Africa. When I talk about new inventions, I said at the beginning of this video that these are not slight modifications or adaptations to Western technologies. These are things that are being developed. Africans are creating it from scratch. Most Western companies say that's impossible. They have not even started thinking to create some of these things. We're going to go to the end of the video, don't worry. We still have something to talk about. We still have something for later. So keep on watching because I have something for you at the end of the video. Now, visualize what this means for a continent where over 600 million people, almost twice the population of the US, live without reliable electricity. It is liberation. It's not just a breakthrough. It's liberation. No massive power plants needed. No expensive infrastructure. No fossil fuels. Just plans. Now, this is not just an African solution. It's a potential global game changer for sustainable energy. A true harmony between technology and nature. So why aren't investors around the world racing to scale this technology? The answer becomes clearer when I tell you about our final innovation, one that has allegedly led to attempts to silence its creator. Imagine never stopping for gas again, never searching for a charging station, never worrying about fuel prices or car range or battery range. It sounds impossible, right? But not in Zimbabwe. Meet Maxwell Chikumbutsu, a self-taught inventor who has created something that energy experts worldwide claimed was impossible. Vehicles that power themselves by converting radio frequencies into usable energy. These aren't concept cars or limited prototypes. They are fully functional vehicles, cars and motorcycles that run without fuel, without charging, without emissions. These are cars that potentially run forever. When Chikumbutsu first announced his invention, he was ridiculed. Physics professors said it violated the laws of thermodynamics. Energy companies dismissed it as a hoax. But then people saw it running and running and running. Even Zimbabwe's president, Emerson, has endorsed the technology, recognizing its potential to position Zimbabwe as a global leader in sustainable transportation. But here is where the story takes a dark turn. According to reports, when Chikumbutsu traveled to the USA to present his technology, he allegedly faced a poisoning attempt. While we can't verify these claims independently, this raises very disturbing questions. What makes this technology particularly threatening to the status quo isn't just that it could revolutionize transportation. It's that the same system can generate up to 15 kilowatts of energy for homes and businesses. Think about what that means. Energy independence. Not just for homes, not just for cars, but for everything. Now ask yourself, what happens to trillion-dollar companies when cars no longer need fuel? What happens to utility giants when every home can generate its own power? What happens to the global power balance when energy ceases to be the lever of control? And most importantly, why are these the questions no one in mainstream media is asking? Four innovations, 4 different countries, 1 continent. Mind control prosthetics from Kenya. An HIV cure trial from South Africa. Plant-based electricity from Congo. Self-powering vehicles from Zimbabwe. Each one will be remarkable on its own. Together they tell a powerful story about Africa's emerging role in global innovation. But these aren't random breakthroughs. There is a pattern here that reveals something profound about African innovation in 2025. All 4 of these technologies share something essential. They address fundamental human needs, not manufactured desires. While Silicon Valley focuses on creating the next addictive app or slightly improved smartphone, African innovations are tackling the challenges that affect billions. Mobility for the disabled, curing HIV, access to electricity and clean transportation. And they are doing it with a fraction of the resources. Not despite this constraint, but because of it. When resources are limited, innovation can't be wasteful. It must be elegant, efficient, and accessible. Now, these breakthroughs aren't just technological achievements. They are a different vision of what progress can look like. A vision that serves humanity's most pressing needs, not just the market's most profitable sections. Think about it. What can be more revolutionary than that? Now let's address the elephant in the room. Why aren't these innovations dominating headlines worldwide? For centuries, a specific narrative has shaped our understanding of global innovation. That the advanced technologies flow from north to south, from west to east, from the developed world to the developing world. This isn't a story anymore. It's a power structure, one that maintains certain countries as consumers of innovation and others as producers of innovation. When Africa is seen primarily as a market for innovations rather than a source of them, it creates relationships of dependency that benefit established global powers. Now, let's be brutally honest here about the threat these innovations pose to existing powers. Afrogenesis affordable prosthetics could disrupt a medical device industry worth over $20 billion that profits from high-margin products. South Africa's HIV research challenges pharmaceutical companies that earn billions annually from antiretroviral medications. Congo's plant-based electricity could undermine massive investments in traditional power infrastructure and centralized energy control. And Chikumbutu's self-powering vehicles? They threaten not just automotive giants, but the entire global ecosystem, a multi-trillion-dollar empire. But here is what is different about 2025. African innovations no longer need Western validation to succeed. With strengthened continental integration through the African Continental Free Trade Area, growing investments from the African diaspora, and increasing South-South cooperation, these technologies have pathways to scale that didn't exist before. So the question isn't whether Africa will become an innovation powerhouse. It is already. The real question is, how quickly will the rest of the world recognize this new reality? The next time someone talks about helping Africa develop, perhaps the best question is, what can Africa teach the world about innovation that truly matters? The answers to our most urgent global challenges are emerging from makeshift workshops in Kenya, laboratories in South Africa, gardens in Congo, and garages in Zimbabwe. That's not just good news for Africa, it's good news for humanity. Now, Which of these innovations shocked you the most? Let me know in the comment section below. And most importantly, share this video with someone who still thinks that Africa is a mere consumer of innovations than the creator of tomorrow's solutions. Until next time, stay curious. The future is being written in places you might least expect.